This video is a very brief introduction to Excel for those who have little or no exposure to it in the past. When you open the program, you get this center section over here which is called a spreadsheet. And within each spreadsheet or each file there's these things called tabs down at the bottom. You see down here it says Sheet 1. And if you hit this plus sign you can create additional ones. You can name these. Maybe after me. Call them whatever you want. And maybe the reason for doing this is if you've got maybe raw data in one table or one tab, and then in a second tab you want to do some analysis and work and graphs and stuff like that. So it's just an option to organize what you're doing. Now what's important here is that within each of these spreadsheets and these tabs, you've got this block of cells. You can highlight cells, you can select cells individually. Each cell is meant to hold one and only one piece of information, and that information could be text, in some of the projects you might add full sentences as you're responding to some of the questions, so you can add full sentences there. And you can also type in numbers. Generally speaking, if you enter a number, then it will be pushed to the right side of the cell, and anytime you have text, it's to the left side of the cell. But if you want to, you can reformat it, and it would be in these buttons up here at the top. So you can center, you can push things to the right, push things to the left. A lot like the way you format things in Microsoft Word. Now, if you have information in your cells that is a number as opposed to text, you can also perform calculations. Anytime you want to perform a calculation, you start with an equal sign, and that tells Excel that you're going to do some sort of analysis or some sort of quantitative exercise with it. So say we want to do 8 divided by 4, which should give us an answer of 2. If you put an equal sign there first, then it knows that you're calculating 8 divided by 4, and it will give you an answer of 2. If you forget that equal sign and you put 8 over 4 like that, it will treat that as text or format in some other way. Apparently this thinks that I mean August 4th, and it's trying to format that automatically. Now also, to perform calculations, again starting with an equal sign, instead of typing in numbers individually, you can also use what are called cell references. So say I want to do some sort of calculation on the information that's in cell A6, type that in as a reference. Maybe I want to add that to the information in A5. And it should give me an answer of 36, because the information in A6 is 20, information in A5 is 16, and oops, it's auto-formatted in date format that I had before. Maybe we'll just do that in a different cell. So equals A6 plus A5, this should be formatted as a number, and there we go. Another option, instead of typing in the references to A6 and A5 on your own, you can also highlight those cells and click them. So take the information in A4, divide it by the information in A6. There you go. And there's also some built-in functions or commands, like suppose I want to calculate the sum of a block of cells. There's this long list of commands here that you may want to memorize if there's some useful ones there. Some of these are, I'm not even sure what they do. Sum x, m, y, 2, not sure what that one does. But some basic commands like sum. When we get to chapter, the one on descriptive statistics, you can use commands like median or mean or average. I think max and min are also commands that you might want to use for something. It helps to have some of those memorized, and there's also a way to look them up in a help menu if you want. When you want to use one of those built-in commands, you type in the name of the command, sum, S-U-M, and then you open a block of parentheses, And then it gives you what are called arguments. This number 1, number 2, number 3, dot, dot, dot. It wants a list of cells that it is supposed to add together and calculate the sum of. Those cells can be individual ones, so sum the values in A4, A5, and A6. Anytime you do that, you separate them by commas. Close your parentheses when you're done. And there's your answer. And you can also highlight those cells as what's called an array or a list of cells. And these would be separated by a colon, so this means sum everything between A4 and A6, which includes A5 in the middle. Again, close the parentheses, and we should get the same answer. And you see we do. And you can also use those built-in commands to make more complicated things like sum up all of those, and then for no particular reason, maybe we want to divide that by some other cell. So you can do fairly complex calculations if you have some of those built-in commands. In some other videos, I'm going to introduce you to some commands that are useful for some descriptive statistics. And I can also show you how to use some built-in commands to create histograms and other plots.